Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date 2, reference 218206 in solid platinum. You can see this massive platinum Rolex Day-Date on our website, watchyouwant.com. Purchase it there, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. You can also click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the video at any time to see our full listing for this watch with additional high-res images, accessories included, and of course complete pricing for this platinum timepiece. You can also click on the link in the description field to take you straight to our website. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, I'm experiencing one of the most physically massive watches Rolex has ever produced in its history. 41 millimeters across the round of the case. The watch is actually more of a cushion than a round case, so it spreads all that mass broad. There's a lot more metal here than you would have in a conventional round watch, so that 41 millimeter diagonal measurement across the round is supplemented by a relatively slim profile. In fact, this one only being 12 millimeters thick, it makes up its substance in breadth. Now from lug to lug, the watch measures 49 millimeters, but when you count the outermost solid end links of the bracelet that effectively demarcate the outermost rigid points of the case as worn across the wrist, you have a very substantial 53 millimeter lug-to-lug span, which is within shouting distance of a 42 millimeter Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore. And then there's the heft of that case. 95% pure platinum, bezel, case, bracelet, clasp. You really feel this watch on the wrist, and being of the most modern generation of Rolex watches, now discontinued but built between 2008 and 2015, all of the links are solid and the clasp is milled out, incredibly substantial. You can also see it's incredibly nuanced with the taper of this classical 3-link Rolex President bracelet on its flanks, polished. The shoulder links, satin brushed. The center links, again, beautifully high polished for contrast. And in the tradition of the 1956 to present President bracelet style, you can see it features the subtle crown clasp, the only point of demarcation showing the parting point of the bracelet. Now articulated, you pull it and it effectively becomes a release switch for the single fold platinum deployant clasp. And when it closes, it lets you know. Beautifully finished, wonderfully machined. Crisp, almost Teutonic in its action. It reminds you of a 1980s Mercedes-Benz car door. Now, I'll also mention that the case itself is just as solid. It is a 100-meter water-resistant watch, which is hard to believe considering the price point and status that this watch conveys, but the bottom line is Rolex builds it like every other sports watch in its line, and it is built to get wet and play hard. But it is a special piece by any standard. The largest of the Day-Dates, now superseded by the Day-Date 40. This is as big a complicated Rolex as you can get without stepping up to the Sky Dweller or the Yachtmaster 2. And the bottom line is this watch, in terms of mass, surpasses even those. Incredibly well built. The watch features minimal decoration, elaboration, or shall we say, extraneous details on its exterior. It's inboard of the bezel that this watch really comes alive. Now what it has is a glacier blue dial. Glacier blue in several treatments. First and foremost, you can see the concentric circular guilloche of the hour track. Now on top of each of those striations of the hour track, you can see the placement of the gold but blue oxidized Roman numerals of the dial. And you can see outboard of it, there's a sort of railroad or sector seconds track or minutes track, beautifully detailed. Both of those beautifully textured, nuanced, and detailed segments of the dial give way to a traditional sunburst at center. Now when I move the watch through the soft light of the light box, you can really see that sunburst graining of the center dial to good effect. It adds real dynamism, and you can also see how the light plays across that concentric circular guilloche of the hour track. This is a very dynamic dial, so while plain and a little bit sober on the outside, this watch absolutely explodes when you look within the bezel. Now it does have the traditional day and date apertures, and they breathe a little bit better on the Day-Date 2 dial. On the traditional 36mm day-date, they're a bit crowded, but on the 41mm case, they're actually nicely spread out and actually a little bit more legible. Stylistically, perhaps the original day-date's more elegant in case profile, but the day-date 2 is more functional as a time-telling timepiece and more elegant, better proportioned inboard of the bezel. Now you'll also note that the hands at center are beautifully blue oxidized to match the numerals. Inside the case, and beneath the straight-grained solid platinum caseback, you get a Rolex manufacturer caliber 3156. Now what the 3156 brings to the table is a combination of Rolex's own Parachrome Blue handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring, anti-magnetic, and Rolex's own Paraflex shock absorber system, so it's actually divorced itself from the shock absorber suppliers KIF and, of course, Incabloc. But the bottom line is that this watch also features all the traditional merits of a Rolex sports watch, so a free-sprung balance, a full balance bridge, robust construction, it's not ultra thin, and to good effect. This one can take a knock. A COSC certified Swiss chronometer. It also features hacking seconds, so when you pull the crown, you do stop the seconds hand, synchronized precisely to a known accurate reference time, and because it is the most modern generation of Rolex day-date calibers, when you withdraw the crown to the intermediate position, you get the advantage of a double quick set function, so should the watch ever run down, or should you encounter an irregular month, you can quickly correct it without any need to spin. You can see this Rolex Day-Date 2 entirely in platinum and purchase it on our website, watchyouwant.com.